How's it going, everybody? It is your favorite apostates. My name is McKay.
And I'm Jordan.
This weekend we were talking, I guess it was last week. It feels like this weekend because we're filming on Friday, but anyway, Jordan and I were talking, we're like, Jen has the Jennanites. What would we call the people who watch us a bunch? I honestly don't know. Jordan put up a poll on Instagram. If you don't follow us already, go and follow us over on Instagram.
We're almost at 10K.
Check us out. And a lot of people put in some submissions, a lot of freaking awesome suggestions, but nothing that really resonated for me like right off the bat. There was a lot of good stuff, but I didn't want it to be like too much like what Jen does, and I didn't want it to be too much like what other people do. But if you have a suggestion, throw it in the comments down below. We would like to hear it. Please do. I mean, we have the Satan's Ponzi scheme, you know, the overarching organization, if you will.
Yeah.
But we don't really have what the foot soldiers would be called, so. Anywho, well, Jordan, I think I've been telling everybody that it's June 26th, but what's going on next Saturday, June 25th?
June 25th. You're probably tired of hearing us talk about it. It's finally here. The live stream of Saturday's Warrior Mormon Cringe Movie-a-thon is finally here. Next Saturday, June 25th at 8 o'clock.
8 p.m. Mountain
Standard Time, yeah. Yeah, that. So that will be next Saturday. So we are very excited about it. I am stoked. You will laugh. I will cry and laugh. It will be an amazing experience for all. It will be an engaging watch party where we can chat with each other, talk. You guys can ask questions. We'll respond. We can talk after. Like, it's just going to be so good. So sit your ass down. Get ready. If you are not a patron, make sure you are one before next Saturday so that you can join the live stream. Any tier will participate, all tiers eligible. Go check it out. There are plenty of other perks on the Patreon, like exclusive videos and content, behind the scenes content, bloopers, all fun stuff.
All that stuff. If you happen to miss that, if you're watching this way down the line and it's like way past, you can still subscribe to the Patreon and it will be available after the fact. So you can watch it. Obviously, the participation will be extremely limited at that point, but that way everybody can participate and see what's going on. Also, to everybody who left a comment on last week's video and was ultra kind to Jordan, even though she might not have read it or like responded to it or anything, honestly, it means a lot even to me because she was really stressed about that whole situation, and it was something that was really weighing heavy on her for the whole weekend when we were going to talk about it and everything. So thank you to all of you.
I was overwhelmed with the responses. I do plan on responding eventually when I am in a mental place to read the comments. But I was very, like, I don't want to say surprised because you guys are good people, but I rarely, if ever, saw an obnoxious or a hate comment, but if one or two. So you guys positive outnumbered the obnoxious people by a great amount. So I am very appreciative. So thank you.
Shout out. Okay, let's move along to today's video. We're going to be doing a reaction. This one was a submission, or a bunch of people sent it to us.
Oh my gosh, I got so many messages about this video.
Yeah. I saw it in the Discord. I was like, what's up with this? I only watched a couple seconds before I was like, we should react to this because it would be awesome. And it could be a nice little game to play along. Everybody, if you didn't leave a comment suggesting a name for the viewers, then you can play along with us. Or you can do both, honestly. I don't care. But today's video, what are we doing, Jordan?
We are reacting to a Jubilee video. I am not familiar with these. I fully admit and confess I don't think I have ever watched any of these videos. So this is complete foreign territory for us to discuss. So I have literally no basis, but it sounds like the premise is there is a group of people, a bunch of them claim to be Mormon, or a bunch of them claim not to be Mormon, but one of them is. Is that the premise?
I think it's the other way around. It's like Among Us.
Among Us.
There's like an imposter, and it sounds like I mean we could be totally off base. We wanted to leave it like totally
because I thought it was the title was "Can You Spot the Mormon?"
or something like that.
I thought.
What does it say up here? 6 Mormons versus 1 fake.
Oh, one fake. Okay.
Jordan didn't even read the title.
I did not. So I didn't want to watch it. I wanted an authentic response. So 6 Mormons, 1 fake. So 1 odd one out.
Yeah.
So there's a mole in here. So our job is to figure out the mole based on this information. So a large, obvious disclaimer as we enter reaction to this video. An important thing to keep in mind is it is very hard to judge someone's values and religious beliefs, traditions, you know, based on what they look like or based on a 10-minute video where they make, you know, 5 sentences worth of comments. And so we are not encouraging you to go out and try to spot Mormons and the fake ones. And this is a game for a reason. Like, don't go out and do this with your besties.
Although it is kind of easy in public generally.
True. But the point I'm trying to make is don't judge someone based off their appearance. Like, there are people who choose to dress what Christians would term modestly. It does not mean that they're religious. Like, that's the, like, I get for the purposes, but let's not also fall into stereotype thinking and assignment. So there's my disclaimer.
There we go. All right, let's get this set up and we will get this going. All right, let's see what they got.
I served in Finland.
Can I hear something? Is it Finnish?
Terve, olen Sisar Olsen ja haluan opita täällä Mormonin kirjasta.
Yeah, mine was, hello, I'm a missionary. Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Well, unless the fake is like an ex-Mormon, that person definitely...
Long-haired girl is Mormon.
7 Mormons
as of right
or
now.
Latter-day Saints.
I'm a member.
I am a member.
I'm a member.
I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ.
The Latter-day Saints.
One of them is a liar. If the group discovers who the liar is, they'll split a cash prize. If the liar survives, they win the entire prize. Who is the odd one out?
Seems like way rigged, bro.
Damn.
I guess we can start with like how long everyone's been a member of the church. Does that work?
Yeah, sure. Totally.
Born and raised.
I'm Zalia, by the way, or you can call me Z. I actually converted to the church when I was 10 years old. I converted before my mom, actually. I got baptized before her, so I guess like 8 years now.
I'm Savannah. I was born and raised in the church too.
Yeah. I'm Elizabeth, born and raised in the church.
Hayden, also born and raised.
I'm Caleb. I was born and raised, but if you want to know how long that is since I was baptized, 19 years.
And I'm Natalie, and I was also born and raised in the church.
Bad start already.
Oh, there's quorum president over there.
Right in the young single adult word.
Blue shirt on the right is Mormon without question.
Without question. Okay. First initial thought. Obviously, we don't have any evidence. What the fake person definitely said was, I was born and raised. So I can definitely say that Z, not. Because that's the easiest way to trick people, is just say, oh, I was born and raised. Because then you don't have to have any sort of extra knowledge to justify that.
That's fair. When everybody else just kind of followed suit. I'm not sure on her. I'm also not sure on the girl next to her. But if they're trying to trip you up, she is wearing a crop top, which is not Mormon appropriate. But that could be a purposeful choice.
Yeah, could be.
Because are they defining by active Mormon, ex-Mormon, current Mormon, progressive Mormon? Like,
this is kind of a...
what Mormon flavor are you?
What's the flavor of Mormonism?
But the blue guy on the right is definitely...
He gives the vibe.
He gives the vibe.
For sure. And the girl next to him.
Oh, I think the main thing I was looking for was someone who just had knowledge about the church.
Well, I think something we could do quick is like just say a scripture we like and why we like it.
Okay.
So I could start. I mean, I like Moroni 7:37. Shit. That was my missionary plaque. I don't have it memorized, but it basically says that it's by faith that miracle.
Missionary plaque.
Missionary plaque is niche.
That's a very niche thing.
Yeah.
What is a missionary plaque?
Missionary plaque, whenever a missionary, at least in the United States, is like fucking church, is whenever a person goes on a mission, they get a little plaque that hangs in their ward building while they're out on a mission. So there's like a little board. They usually put like a little miniature map of where you're serving, Sometimes they'll have a bigger map and they'll take a ribbon and pin it where you're at, and then you'll pick a scripture and put it on there, and it'll say the date that you left, when you're supposed to return, and everything.
So
like
people
that.
walk by it every Sunday. Everybody makes a big deal out of it. That's a very niche Mormon thing.
I'll probably take a picture of mine and show it to you, but I don't have it within reach. I'm not going to grab it right now.
Miracles have ceased. It's because of unbelief. So I like that because it's helped reassure me that miracles do happen.
I don't know what exact verse it is. That already makes me look really bad. I think it's like Nephi chapter 12 or somewhere around there, just because I had an amazing experience when I read it, but it was like the last verse of the chapter, and he basically is saying, oh, what does he say? It's just like, know that when you read these things, these are true.
There are quite a few books in the Book of Mormon, and she didn't mention one specifically. She mentioned like a grouping of books.
That makes me sound bad, because mine is like...
That's so pretentious.
What did we say?
There's 4 books of Nephi in the Book of Mormon, so...
Not specific. She's Mormon missionary, diehard.
Yeah, that's how I was, and fucking annoying. Another little thing about Mormonism is the seminary experience. When you're in high school, you go to an extra class of seminary on top of like everything that you usually would do, on top of your Sunday meetings, your midweek little things and everything like that. And a big part of seminary, when I was in seminary, was you memorize some key scriptures out of the book that you're working in that year. So there's, in all, I think there's 25 for each year, for each book. So 25 for the Book of Mormon, 25 for Doctrine and Covenants and Pearl of Great Price, 25 for New and Old Testament. So in all, throughout your 4 years of high school, you're supposed to have memorized 20 or 100 scriptures from the standard works. So that's like one of the things where the Mormies will excel.
That's a pretty good tell, unless you're like me and have not great memory with literature text.
We'd always sing them to the songs.
The scripture mastery one, but I don't remember where it's from. It's like
Scripture Mastery.
Like shine under a bushel.
Oh, that's like Matthew.
It's Matthew. Yes. And I learned that in high school, and I was living in Oregon, and so I was one of the only Mormons there, and it just made me have to be like, I don't know, I had to be an example to everyone else as a Mormon at the time.
So Natalie kept saying the word Mormon without even flinching. In our church, there's
Don't
a
worry,
big
Caleb,
push
you're
that
safe.
Mormon is not our official name.
Or as Ruby would describe it, it's a slur.
It's a slur.
It's derogatory.
You missed it. Prophet of the Mormon Church said, calling the church Mormon now is a victory for Satan. So it has to be referred to as the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in its entirety.
Yeah, and if you are a Mormon, you are a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. A lot of syllables.
I voted for Savannah because of the scripture mistake.
Man, that's fucking rude.
I just had a feeling I was gonna be eliminated because I definitely had a brain freeze and I just froze.
So did anyone serve a mission?
I served in Italy.
I served in Finland.
Wow.
It was very fun.
Can I hear something? Is it Finnish?
Terve, olen Cesar Olsen ja haluan opettaa täällä Mormonin kirjasta.
If anybody speaks Finnish, please translate what she said.
I heard Mormon in there, so that's enough for me.
All right, I guess I'm up. Buongiorno, mi chiamo Anziano Lacey, sono missionario della Chiesa di Gesù Cristo dei Santi degli Ultimi Giorni.
Yeah, mine was,
Mormon.
hello, I'm a missionary.
Yep, that's me.
How about what was everyone's favorite conference talk from last week?
I did watch some of the prophets messages for seminary, but I didn't watch the whole thing. It was my birthday weekend.
That's so fair. Every 6 months in October and April, there is something called General Conference. The First Presidency of our church and other leaders will have different talks given, and so it's important that people tune in to see what the Lord has to say. A big part of the LDS religion is that we do believe that there is a living prophet on the earth right now.
I always like Elder Holland's talks about
shaky on that
mental
one.
health awareness.
Yeah. Ew. Jeff. Jeffrey.
Y'all know we hate
Jeffrey Holland.
We
hate
can better ourselves and be aware of what other people are going through.
Yeah, I love when he talks about that because I suffer from mental health issues. So.
Yeah, I love that. Like, there's been so many talks recently about mental health. Like, I feel like that's so important, and I'm glad that it's not like it's being destigmatized. I think.
So you guys all were raised, right?
I'm shaky on her.
And do you feel like you're part of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints? My seminary teacher is going to scream at me.
Okay, that solidified it for me because it's like, oh, she's trying.
Maybe.
When he hears me say that I said that.
It's a hard transition.
Yeah, sorry, it's a long-winded one. But do you guys feel like you were raised like pretty much with very, very set values, or do you feel like your values really like are in line with the values of the church?
So
I don't know
if you guys have noticed, but I have a tattoo and I have like extra piercings. When I was younger, I went through a more rebellious phase because some of my values weren't aligning with like the church.
Missionary
girl,
I feel like so
I have a really strong testimony in the Savior, and I was like, as long as I still have that, I think I'll be okay. And like,
so you left and then, or not left, but you kind of strayed and then came back.
Yeah. I went inactive for a little bit. I did some soul searching and.
Inactive is Mormon verbiage, so that's...
Yeah.
I don't know. There's some... Too
bad Lauren S. didn't get that memo. Check out our last video for
if you don't know what that is.
That.
I don't know. I'm shaky on her. I'm shaky on Z. I feel like I'm more solid on blue shirt guy on the left, too, because of the
missionary introduction.
The missionary intro. That's pretty... I mean, unless he really did his homework... I guess you could.
I mean, if they're supposed to be
really
fooling people for a cash prize, I would assume that you do your homework. But
it's these
still
two.
Some... Yeah.
I think really.
I'm kind of actually in more of a inactive phase right now in my path. So I'm kind of doing that soul searching right now.
It's always important to ask questions for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I hope he wins because maybe his tithing won't, or his money won't go to tithing. That dude is going hard.
Previously, that was a little suspicious.
Against Natalie.
We actually have a three-way tie. The tie is between Natalie, Elizabeth, and Z. You each will have 30 seconds. Just kind of state your case.
Well, I don't really know what to say. I was born and raised in the church. My favorite movies, BRM. So that's like
that's very specific.
I don't know, but it's also like one of the classics that pretty much
that's fair. That's
a really good part of Mormon culture, if you know that. I don't know what to say. I teach youth 15-year-old Sunday school.
So I feel like I would have hidden my tattoos. And I would have
I don't know, Natalie.
If I were trying to blend in, if I were the mole. I was baptized at 8. My brother's been sealed in the temple. I do baptisms for the dead a lot. I have a temple recommend currently right now.
That's why I could state my case is by reciting the young woman's theme. We are daughters of our Heavenly Father who love us and we love him. We will stand as witnesses of God at all times and in all things and in all places. And we strive to live.
See, I had a good feeling about Z, honestly.
See, she was, I
the
thought
Mormon values are faith, divine nature, individual worth, knowledge, choice, accountability, good works, integrity, virtue. We believe as we come to accept and act upon these values, we will be prepared to strengthen home and family, make and keep sacred covenants, and receive the ordinances of the temple, and enjoy the blessings of exaltation.
Wow. Sent.
Sorry.
Raise your hand if you think the mole is still in the box and you would like to continue the game.
I have so many things I want to talk about.
Yeah, I feel like there's only 2.
What the f? I don't know his name. The right-hand side blue shirt guy voted Natalie off and then was like, yeah, the person's still here. What?
People that have
the
gone
logic,
out so far.
man.
I'm happy to keep talking.
I'm happy to keep talking too. Yeah, I got no problem with that.
To help educate our audience. Here's a question I've been wanting to ask that will continue the conversation.
Brother.
I was just wondering if anyone could share a moment they had that really helped them come to know these things are true.
My grandpa passed.
Okay, I'm revising my my last assumption about this guy. He's not Elders Quorum president material. He's Elders Quorum counselor because he tries too hard.
Unless... I mean, it could go either way. He could either be a really, really obnoxious Mormon, which there's plenty of him out there, and I would not be surprised, or he's really, like, laying it on to
laying
appear
it on
so
thick.
Yeah, so people are like, oh my God, yeah, okay, this freaking diehard Mormon over here.
Could be.
So I don't know. I might be cooling on him. I don't know.
We are literally dumb. We're so stupid. We have no idea how this could go, honestly. Whoever the mole was, they did their homework really well.
I don't think they would know the young women's theme because that's really, really specific and it's really, really fucking long to memorize for this. It seems kind of stupid.
4 years ago this month, and he was actually my last like living grandparent. There was a time where I was praying for strength, you know, after it happened, and I just got like the best feeling of like just warmth of like I'm going to see him again.
Personally, I think I already said this, but I was the first person to actually get baptized in my church, and I was only 10 years old. It was really, really signifying. It's not even like the feelings that you feel, it's like literally like the changes you see. My family was always loud, super rambunctious, there was never peace in the home, and then as soon as I started bringing back these lessons and teachings I learned, all of a sudden the family was super peaceful and it was super nice. Can I ask you guys more about, well, you said you're currently going through kind of an active period, and you said you went through one already. Do you guys want to go a little more in depth about that, or just kind of like the questions you had?
So for me, a lot of it had to do with, you know, because I consider myself to be left-leaning politically. And so a lot of that, you know, doesn't really align with some of the things the church teaches. And so for me, it was just kind of like finding a way that I can still hold my beliefs, because I do think it's important that we, you know, treat everyone with love, and being able to separate, like I can vote how I want, and that doesn't indicate my faith in the gospel.
Mine's kind of personal right now. I'm just kind of trying to figure it out, you know, like what I think. My focus have just kind of changed.
I think if you go through a period of inactivity, you can really see the difference between like when you're
really
living
vague.
the gospel and when you're not.
That was
and
really vague.
I found my life to be better when I was living it, and so I think that was a very important experience to me to get my own testimony.
That's,
still a little bit suspicious of Clay, you know, his period of inactivity, which I know sounds kind of like hypocritical of me.
Damn.
Ooh.
Clay is out.
I wasn't surprised. I had a feeling I was going to get eliminated the entire game.
Raise your hand if you think the mole is still in the box and you'd wish to continue playing the game. If the lights turn green, that means you have voted the mole out and you all win. If the lights turn red, that means the mole is still in the box.
I think it might be Elvis Form guy.
Damn.
Everybody's suspicion is gone.
Will the mole reveal themselves in 3, 2,
Crop Top Girl.
1.
Or Natalie.
I knew it too.
See, I told you the RM, was not specific. It's like super easy. You just go Mormon movies, boom. Or if maybe she had a friend.
The youth Sunday thing was a
Sunday school
off statement, because that's not what
14 and 15-year-olds.
Yeah. That's not how we would phrase that.
I guess 14 and 15.
Voted for you every round.
Oh my God.
I had my suspicions from the start.
Oh, you hated my guts.
You kept saying Mormon over and over again without
I thought that too.
Yeah,
I really
without flinching.
And so I was one of the only Mormons there. A real good part of Mormon culture. I started to have doubts about the church before I went to college, and I eventually was like, something's not adding up between what I'm saying and what I'm actually feeling. I'm very like left-leaning politically. And then once I was out of the church, I realized, oh, I'm gay. I couldn't even think about it.
Oh, so she's ex-Mormon. That's what makes her the mole.
Oh, okay.
See, that's the best kind of mole, is somebody who already knows the things. So if she, I mean, not everybody who leaves the Mormon church is obsessed about it like we are.
Like we are. It's our whole personality.
They might have totally missed the whole Russell M. Nelson, oh, Mormon is a victory for Satan kind of thing.
That's, well, I mean, we don't care. I wouldn't care, so that would be hard to adjust.
But that's also like not the only like identifier, because even people in my own family still say it, and it's like whatever, because Russell M. Nelson is uptight little beehole, so
he wants to exert his control over people.
Yeah.
He wants to show everybody that his priesthood is the biggest priesthood.
Because it was just so out of the possibility in my head. But now I'm like happy. I live in California. If you are LGBT and in the church, you are loved. There is a place for you, no matter if it's in the church or out of the church. You can do whatever you want to do and whatever you need to do that is best for you.
I'm really glad to have this opportunity.
I thought she was talking about like only in the church. If you are LGBTQ plus and you're in the church, you are loved. I was like, I thought she was talking about like her experience with being in the church. Like, oh, if you're LGBTQ plus, you're loved. I was like, you don't have to lie through your teeth like this.
Yeah.
But that made more sense by the end.
It's a hard line to walk because, and like, I get it because you want to, like, especially as somebody who's out, like for really young people who might be struggling with that and might be, you know, struggling in the sense that they're trying to navigate how they fit into the church and how they force themselves into this narrative, this box that the church is wanting them to fill. Like for younger people, it's like we want them to feel that in the church because it's really, it can be, you know, extremely dangerous if they don't. But I think it's kind of established that they don't, and they're not. And so it's hard because I want there to be like a sense of safety and acceptance. And I think some of the church like culturally has that, even though doctrinally they may not. But at the same time, it's like, I want to be like, no, like these two things can't like coexist. Like there's some level of mental gymnastics that has to continue in order to stay that way.
Yeah. Because I appreciate Elizabeth because when you have gone through a questioning period and you return, I think you come back with more empathy and things like that. What she said about I can vote one way and still believe another thing, I feel like is a little bit kind of misleading because every conference they're getting up behind the pulpit and they're saying that we believe that marriage is between a man and a woman, period, full stop. There's no nuance that they allow there. Mm-hmm. So for you to go against, like, you can vote one way and that might go against your beliefs, but I guess it's more helpful to acknowledge that you can do that and feel personally that it is this way, but it is going to be going against your beliefs. And they don't want that. They don't want you to be going against your beliefs. That's why they're up at the pulpit saying the things that they say every 6 months so that you don't go against those beliefs.
Yep.
And then there's the added kind of, and maybe Elizabeth wasn't a missionary, maybe she's not endowed. This top doesn't really look like a garment-friendly top, so maybe that's not the case. But when you go through the temple and you've made those 4 really big, serious covenants, it kind of adds to that where there's no nuance. Things have to be black and white. You're either keeping your covenants for all things and upholding the church in all things, or you're not.
A reminder, if you're new here and you're not familiar with the temple process or the covenants, we have a video about that. We have many videos about that.
I'll link it right here.
That
just in case you're...
secret footage inside Mormon Temple. So if you're new here, those are a must-see.
That I'm mostly referring to is the second token of, or the one that accompanies the second token of the Melchizedek priesthood, which is the law of consecration, that you're supposed to dedicate your time and talents efforts to the building up of the Church of Jesus Christ and of Latter-day Saints, and that includes your money and things like that. So
you want your money.
They don't want any nuance. So when we're applying nuance to these sort of situations, it's a little easier when you're not in the innermost bit.
Yeah.
So if she's endowed, you know, I'm glad that she can hold that. I don't know how you can exist in a state like that where you're perpetually having to do mental gymnastics to justify it in spite of the covenants that you've made.
It's exhausting to do that.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Like, I don't doubt that there are people that can do it their whole lives, like, especially in the older generation. Yeah. Like, it's I have family members who were like, I don't even know. I don't know. Well I don't want to know any of that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good with where I'm at and don't tell me anything. And so I get that approach, but I feel like it's a lot harder for young people because everything is out there in the CES letter and Ex-Mormon TikTok, and it's much more in your face.
YouTube.com/Jordan McKay.
YouTube, hello. So it's a lot harder. So, I mean, I eventually got exhausted with trying to piece those things together and coexist and make them work because they just can't.
Yeah. There's a point where I got to where I was like, yeah, I can like kind of reconcile these things to an extent, but at what point is it really useful to me to do that? Where it was like, it's not building my faith and it's blocking my growth in other areas, what point is there for me, really? So anyway, let's hear what Elizabeth
with the church, and I really am glad that people can watch this and listen to our stories. I think that we all had some really, really good thoughts shared.
Members of our church really do try to live in the Savior's way, and I think as we do that, hopefully we can become more like him. And I think as we grow as people, hopefully we'll be able to show other people that we really do love them for who they are.
I think we have to. I think we have to.
Thank you. Oh, he's shoving it in his phone.
Are those just ones? Damn, all that money going to tithing. Hopefully not.
All that money,
Hopefully not.
10% donation.
Maybe they're like, hey guys, just leave 10% of it. We'll give it to the church for you. How about that?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, God. Well, this was a brain trip.
Yeah, this was wild. Again, there's not a lot you can do to really just assume that somebody's Mormon. Sometimes some of the mannerisms and obviously the garment check is like
very obvious.
Very obvious, but there's a lot of less obvious things about Mormons that is not like, oh, and I see the comments all the time where people are talking about, oh, that influencer, I didn't know they were Mormon, or that, singer or whatever. So a lot of times it can be really inconspicuous, but
it really depends on the person. But growing up, like, the expectation is that you're very, like, open and very, like, outgoing about this aspect of your lives, because it's like when you're around other people, especially non-Mormons, because it's a conversion opportunity.
Yeah.
And so, like, the whole thing, like, there was a lot of pressure placed on the youth, like when we were growing up, that anywhere you go, anytime you do anything, you're representing the Mormon church. And so all of your behavior has to be representative of that. So if you're out smoking pot with your friends behind the school, like, that's representative of the Mormon church. And so there's a lot of pressure to act like a certain way, because the leaders are telling you, like, the entire reputation of the Mormon church is on the line, god damn it. You
Moroni,
stupid little 16-year-old. It's all on you.
I know. They love to reconcile it with, oh, if the church weren't true, it would have been taken down by 19-year-old missionaries a long time ago. I'm like, that is such a, like,
that's
bullshit comparison. More to the point that you were talking about, just share a little trauma that's stuck with me for, at this point, 20 years now. When we moved to the house that my parents live in currently, we needed to find a new dentist, and there was a guy in our ward who was a dentist, right?
Crentis. I think Is his name Crentis?
I think I might have told you about this before. I don't remember if I did. But this sticks to me, like, it has stuck with me forever. And I didn't really know anybody that was in the ward. Obviously, you go to a congregation, you don't know everybody, like, right off the bat. And I might have been 7 at the oldest. And I remember going in, and my mom didn't really say anything, or if she did, I didn't pay attention. But I was in the chair, and he's doing stuff. And he was like, so what church do you go to? And I had, like, an existential crisis in that moment. I was so scared. I was like, I don't know. And I felt terrible about it for so long, because I was like, I wasn't even brave enough to say what church I went to. So it's a big deal that you represent the Mormon church in everything that you do. That's why they want you to stand out from the crowd and make it recognizable, because then people have this kind of image built up in their head that, oh, those Mormon people, they have it all together. They have something about them that's just different from anyone else, and the logical path is supposed to be that one thing that's different about them could be that they're in the Mormon church. What's
well, and it was a good way to explain to the youth, like, especially like when we were growing up, because modesty standards, especially, like, we did not live in a predominantly Mormon area. If you're new here, McKay and I went to high school together. Yeah. But we were not in a predominantly Mormon area. There was only a handful of us that were Mormon at our high school. And so modesty really wasn't like, we didn't go to like a Christian school. We weren't like, you know, in a really heavily religious area. And so, you know, not being able to wear leggings and not being able to wear short shorts and only having, you know, one piercing, and it made you stand out. And so that whole argument that they push is that you're supposed to stand out. You're a Mormon. Yeah. You're supposed to. Like that, if you're standing out from the crowd, you're doing it right because you're one of the elect. Like Jesus wants you to stand out because then it attracts more people to Mormonism. And I'm like, I don't really know if that's true, but that's what they would tell us anyway.
Yeah. And there's a lot of situations where they'd be like, oh, you need to stand out from the crowd. Or like, oh, if you end up at a party, you would say no to alcohol and people will automatically know that you're a Mormon because only Mormons don't drink alcohol, obviously. And then it also evolves from there to people would know even more that you're Mormon if you weren't even at that party and you just left. They would be making a statement that what they're doing is immoral or, you know, XYZ.
Well, and that's, I mean, it's definitely not unique to Mormonism. I feel like that's a very Christian, like, especially like what I would call like popular mainstream white girl Christianity, the way it is right now with all these white influencers between Brittany Dawn and Girl Defined, and you know,
there's someone in probably every quarter there's a new TikToker that pops up that's doing the insufferable TikTok preaching of, oh, if you could just replace your phone with the scriptures, you and your whole family would be saved. Like, oh my God, chill, people.
It's cringe. But that, I mean, it's the whole thing with them too, is they're like, especially with influencers, because it turns into the same thing that Mormons have too. It's that persecution complex of, yeah, people hate me on the internet and I have trolls, and it's fine because this is what the Lord wants for me. The Lord put me on Instagram. Like, no, bitch, he didn't. Like, he did not reveal to you. He did not come to you in a burning bush and tell you to get on Instagram. Stop. That is not what happened. That is not a thing. You're not fooling anyone.
No. Well, and the persecution complex too. Like, I don't think that I'm right just because your Mormon auntie Sarah comes in here and is like, I can't believe you would defame the church like that. Whereas Mormons, they feel like they have to be right in everything.
They have to be right.
They are the only right that exists on the planet Earth.
I mean, people are like, Mormons aren't Christians. But I'm like, yo, a lot of them are in the same pot. Like, if there were a ton of, which I mean, there are Mormon influencers, but if there are some like huge Christian influencers like Girl Defined and the likes of them that like go hard on Jesus content on Instagram. And if there were, I feel like it's more of a Christian movement in that sense right now, but I am absolutely positive you will see more and more and more Mormon women start to phase into that. Because prior to this, it's family vlogger style. So a lot of them weren't outright about it, and they just talked about their family and what they do and how they live their lives. And then they would bring in, oh yeah, we're Mormon and we go to church. And they would just kind of incorporate it naturally, where we have like this epidemic of Christian influencers who are like, you know, being God honoring in every possible cringy way is my entire personality. So I think we'll see more Mormons kind of venture into that area.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got people like Jordan Page. I remember watching her little live stream that they did talking about the church, which it was like super obvious that her husband was like I was a missionary and it was the best thing that I ever did for my life. And she was just like doing her best compared to him. I was like, oh my God.
They're cringe. No, we will not do a video on them.
They would just do all the same shit that the missionaries would give you. They talking about. So it's interesting. To finish off this, I also wanted to share one last story of people figuring out that we were Mormon in public. I don't think I have told you about this. Disneyland we were at one time. That was probably like 10-ish years ago or so. And I remember we were walking off of a ride, just strolling off casually, and some lady rolls up and was like, hey, are you guys members? And we were like kind of taken aback. She just like assaulted us with words, just rolled up. hey, are you guys members? It might have just been like, hey, what ward are you guys are in? Because she was able to spot my mom's garment line on the back.
Garment checking is real, y'all.
I know. Garment checking is fine, but don't annoy people.
But I mean, that's well, your family has had experiences like that, like no matter where they've gone. It seems like your family is like Mormon magnets. Like anytime they go on vacation, even to like very wild places, it always happens.
That also kind of is because my parents always made it an effort to go to church wherever we went on vacation and stuff like that.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
We didn't.
One time we went to church on St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands. But
y'all are way better than I ever was.
On God, yeah. And then our return flight back from that trip got delayed. We had to stay in Fort Lauderdale, and then we tried to go to church in Fort Lauderdale. So
admire the conviction, but man, couldn't be me.
Seriously.
I looked forward to vacations because it meant we weren't going to church.
Going to church. Yeah. Oh, that means we can go out to eat on a Sunday night.
On a Sunday, yeah.
I know, right? Crazy. Well, that's all we had on that one. Something I want to address that we are fast approaching on, like we do with all our stupid milestones. We're about to hit 50K subscribers on YouTube, and I cannot believe it. It is so incredible. If you haven't been around for the last milestones, we do one. I have taken it upon myself to set the schedule for the giveaways. We did one at 5, 10, 25, and now we'll do 50. And then the next one after that one will be when we get our silver play button at 100.
Crying real tears. Crying real tears, shitting, throwing up.
Pissing myself. So we're going to do a giveaway for that. I haven't decided on it. If you guys have any suggestions of something that we should give away or how many people we should give away, maybe we should do a small thing for 50 people.
Maybe.
Or a big thing for like 5 or 10 people. That'd be cool. So let us know. Maybe you don't care and we'll just pick it. But honestly, we kind of thrive off of your guys' suggestions because that also gives us a little barometer of what people would be interested in receiving. Because what good is a giveaway if you're receiving shit that you don't care about?
That you don't care about, yeah.
So hopefully we can get something that people will be interested in and we can give them away and give back to the people who have got us to this point where we're at. Because honestly, it's all because of you.
And it's
amazing.
Very insane to be here. We're at just about a year that we've been on YouTube.
A little more than a year. I remember we really started picking up June of last year. That's when we were able to that's when we hit 4,000 watch hours and really started getting real after that point.
It's fucking crazy.
It's crazy. So thank you to all of you who have stuck around. Thank you to the new people who have just gotten in the game because you're important as well. And thank you to all the listeners. Like I can't stress enough how awesome the listeners are, even though I can't see your comments here. Some of you listen and then you come and you comment and participate in our other things. So God bless you. Satan bless you. Whoever else the fuck, just be blessed. Every one of you, honestly.
Don't forget to join us next Saturday. Live stream. And then I'll stop talking about it.
Yeah. I think we're also going to do we want to start doing some public live streams as well. I'm not really sure what we would do. Maybe like Q&A for the first one. We finally have a new camera that I'm able to direct feed into the computer and do live streams. So I am interested in
make dinner with us.
That.
Cooking with McKay.
That would be cool. That would be a logistical nightmare for our purposes. If that's what you want to see, we will figure it out.
We'll make it work.
But yeah. Now for the end bit. If you haven't subscribed already and you're listening and watching and you like what you see or hear, hit the subscribe button.
Hit the button.
Hit the button, whatever it is, for download, subscribe. We'd love to have you here and see you here regularly. If you'd like to know more about what we do in our day-to-day lives, hit up Instagram, follow us there, hit up TikTok. There's a bunch of other stuff from the past year plus that we have on there. We should post something new, honestly, on TikTok. You can find us at Jordan and McKay at Jordan and McKay on those platforms. If you'd like to support us in another way, we have Patreon, which we've already talked about. I'll just throw the little thing on the screen so you don't have to hear me talk about it. Patreon.com/JordanMcKay. We also have our merch stores. We have 2 of them just because we do the stickers ourselves. You can find us on Etsy, Happy Brain Collective. We have a lot of cool designs and you can get those. We also have a Teespring, which the link is in the description, that has all the same designs just on t-shirts, mugs, hoodies, things of that nature. We also have a super cool, freaking awesome Discord community, the Discordians of Jordan and McKay. You can find the link to our Discord server in the description of this video. Thank you all for joining us. This was fun. Hopefully you were able to figure out who it was, and we'll see you next time.